Hello, everyone. Joanna here with Stories That Shape Us. Before I go into this conversation around grooming, I want to remind you today is the final day for early bird pricing for the Come See a Man conference. We are April 8 and 9 in Swansea, South Wales. Accommodation is not provided, but many people are booking hotel rooms and Airbnbs around the area. Don't miss out on this amazing, life-changing opportunity, because that's what our events are. It will change your life. Okay. It will either start your journey of healing with us, continue your journey of healing with us, add to the work that you've done before, come and grow. It's going to add to your life in a positive way wherever you are on your journey of healing. But in order to do that, today is the final day, 12 o'clock tonight is the final day that you can get the early bird pricing. From tomorrow, the 1st of March, the price goes up for the rest of March. And we close off sales the end of March so that we can get ready to do the work of pouring into you at this event. Do not miss out on early bird pricing. I know sometimes we think about it and we think about it and we know we're going, but we think we have time. And then before we know it, time's gone. Time's gone. You can remember you can do payment plan, but you need to start paying before the 1st of March in order to have access to that. Okay, to the price. You can still have payment plan afterwards, but it won't be at early bird pricing. I just wanted to say that before I go into this content of grooming, adult grooming. Well, not adult grooming, just grooming. But when we're an adult, I want us to pay a special attention to it, because sometimes we might believe that the messaging might be, if you're an adult, this can't happen. But we're adults, we can be vulnerable too. We can be exposed to harm, and predators will spot it. One of the things I talked about yesterday was the number one thing that sometimes can make us vulnerable, and it's the lack of boundaries. And I invited you to check your boundaries, to see what it is, to see whether or not there are areas in your life that need fixing, and invite you to consider doing that. I have some resources that I made available to you with the link below the video. I'll add it here too. Boundaries are important. They're your safeguard. They'll protect you. Without boundaries, we're left unprotected in many areas. And that's one of the things that predators do. They will ignore your boundaries. So if you're a person already that struggles with boundaries, it might make it a little bit tricky for you. So we need to know how to put those in place so that you can be protected always. I want you to be safe. I want you to be safe. And your boundaries help keep you safe. If there's anybody in your life that ignore your boundaries, they are not safe. Doesn't matter who these people are, as long as they don't respect your boundaries, they are not safe. They need to go learn how to be safe, how to respect people's boundaries. And you need to know that every healthy relationship have boundaries. So it's not a bad thing. It's not unchristian. It's not unladylike. It's not insensitive. You're not thin-skinned. You're not sensitive. You're not any of those things. What you're doing is being careful. You're being considered. You're being protective of yourself. You're looking after yourself. You're doing a godly, Christ-like thing and putting boundaries in place to make sure the relationship is safe. Okay? So what are some of those other things that they do? So now predators will target their victims. They'll target their victims, believe it or not. They look where's the opening, they'll target, and they'll come after you as a victim. So when they do that, they bond quickly. They come after you and they do things to get you bonded to them really, really fast. Sometimes for women who go into narcissistic abusive relationships, you might recognize this, because when the narcissist comes in, with lots of flowers and roses and nice things and nice talk, and really quickly build the relationship fast. And before you know it, you're married, and it was a whirlwind romance, and then the abuse starts. Okay. So predators will do that. They will target victims, bond really quickly through gifts, through meeting a need, they create a level of dependence sometimes. And so you can look at your life, which area of dependence. They'll create dependency, that you become dependent on them. They be your savior. They meet a need. So they make you dependent on them. I am your savior. I am the only one, they'll make you think, that will look after you, Nobody else is going to look after you. I'm the only one that cares. That's not true. There are many people who care, who will care for you, will continue to look after you, not the person who is hurting you. If they are hurting you sexually or any other way, that's not caring. If they're making you do things, influencing you to do things that is against your will, that's not care. Okay? So they meet a need, become your savior. I'm the only one that will look after you. They become your confidant, right? You're telling them things now because they built the trust so quickly that you're sharing your heart and you're pouring your heart out to them. But notice they will share something. They will share in the beginning when they're doing the bonding really fast. They will tell you the most outrageous stories about their life to get you to trust them so you can tell them your stories too. But if you notice that they will stop and you're the only one talking, but they're so skilled at it that you won't recognize that you're the only one sharing and that they've not shared anything private or personal. And so the bonding and the connection is one-sided because now it's dependent and it's not a mutually healthy sharing, giving relationship. They will isolate you from family and friends and let them to to give you the impression that they're the only one that cares for you. I've heard this. They're the only one that can look after you. I say, no, that's not true. There are billions of people in this world, many who will look after you, thousands in your neighborhood. They are people. But they'll give you the impression that I'm the only one that can help you. I'm the only one that cares about you. I'm the only one that can do this thing. So they create dependence. And then they start to introduce intimacy and sexual language in the conversation. Sometimes, and, and this can be done really quickly over a matter of days or weeks. Sometimes they take a little bit longer to wear you down, right? So intimacy in the conversation might be through jokes, through analogies. They'll ask you, they slip a really personal question in and ask you things about your personal life or your sex life. They'll do that kind of thing, right? And you're so dependent, you're disarmed completely because they eroded your boundaries with targeting you, bonding quickly, giving you things, becoming your savior, isolating you from family and friends. And so that's where you try to diversify your group. You're not dependent on one person. And if you're in a position where you have to be dependent on people, please let it be a diverse group of people so nobody will come in and take advantage of you. So they'll introduce intimacy in the conversation, and then the abuse begins, where they'll start with inappropriate touching, they'll normalize it, right? And then there's sexual contact. Often now it's very difficult for you to say no. Sometimes you will say no, but they're so used to not respecting your boundaries or you not having any that it's not listened to, right? And now here you are in a position that you didn't want to be in. You did not want to have an intimate relationship with this person, and here you are. And so lots of people now are washed with guilt and shame. And so they'll use that against you because sometimes the predator will blame you and said, well, if you weren't, and if you didn't, why did you look like that? Why did you let me? You should have stopped me. And you will be the reason. You will be the reason they did what they did. They will let you feel. They will let you take all the responsibility for the intimacy. All of the responsibility will be yours. It's your fault. So now you'll be awash with guilt, you'll be awash with shame. And so the next time they try again, well, it's easier now for them because you have so much guilt and shame. And in your heart, you know you don't want to, but you're going along with it because you're dependent, you need them, you don't have anybody else. And so that's how it continues. And so now control becomes now they have control, full control. So they'll control you with threats. Who is going to believe you? You are this, and whatever secrets you've told them about yourself will be used. So they'll control you with threats, with intimidation, manipulation, emotional blackmail, and they're acting sometimes as this authority or spiritual overseer in your life. And so those are some of the ways. I want you to know that at any point in this process, you can still get help, you can still put boundaries in place. That it doesn't matter if the sexual contact and the intimacy has happened already. You can still step outside of that pattern and cycle. You can still tell someone You can still get support and you can still step outside of the circle, that cycle. You can still get help to release the shame, to let it go, to heal, and to move forward out of it. Don't allow them to keep you in a cycle doing things that you don't want to do and it's soul destroying. You can be free. If this has been you and it's happened to you and you're still riddled with shame, please get help to release the shame. It wasn't you. You were targeted. You were the recipient of a very targeted campaign, and they've done it. They may have moved on, controlling you still with shame, popping in whenever they like. Just know that at any point that there is hope and there's help, and you can heal, you can release it, you can be healed, and you can move forward. This is possible. This is the work we do every day at Women's Scars in freeing people from this kind of bondage. If you're a woman in an abusive relationship, and this is a feature in your relationship, you can also get help and support to be freed from the bondage that is abuse. You can get help. You can, there's hope. There's hope. What the predator will tell you, what the abuser will tell you, is that there's no hope for you, that you can't do without them, that you need them, that nobody will want you, almost like you won't be forgiven. That's not true. None of what they tell you will ever be true. You can get support to put boundaries in place. You can live free. Please reach out to your GP for counseling, reach out to any counseling organizations that is near you, and or reach out to us at Women's Scars. We have a group of affiliate counselors, and we will get you some support to start your journey of healing so you can be free. Thank you for joining me in this episode of Stories That Shape Us. I hope you'll join me on the next story.